Well, I'm so glad to have all of my directors here of all of my departments for our alignment meeting. This is a really important meeting that we get to have together in the community. We just need to be able to check and do a pulse and see how each one of our departments are doing. We really want to be able to know growth, any issues that you have going on, things like that. So we're going to go through each one of these a little bit individually. So I'm going to probably call on you guys just a couple of times, but I really just need to get a good feel of what's going on in your communities. So I'm going to go through you guys in my order. So maybe not your order. I'm going to go through Pia and then Pia, who's over development, Sherry, you're with impact, Anel with connections. Um, we're gonna have you with events, and then last but not least, Miss Tammy with our educator department. So, Pia, really quick on development. How's the growth? How's the expansion? How's your attendance? How's it looking right now?
Actually, we're doing pretty good. I mean, there's always growth, right? But I think everybody's getting better and better with going over the scripts and from the handbook and things. As far as our growth, we're averaging about a dozen or 2 dozen within our meetings, and depending on, which meeting it is. And I don't know, I think just in general, we did have one director leave, and so we moved up a leader into that spot. So we have one podcast opening. But as far as expansion, we really need more leaders in training.
Okay. So, do you have a leader in training for podcast, or you just have that spot vacated?
We have that spot vacated. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll need to make that sure that's, and I appreciate you letting me know that. We'll put that on our forums board so people know that that's a spot that we need to fill. So we want to make sure that's available and let people know that. So thank you for that update. Okay, Sherry, let's go to our impact department. How are you guys doing?
We are doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. We've had we had a wonderful preparedness meeting last whenever that was. Uh, we're kind of thin on the ground in our community with regard to leaders. And so our preparedness leader was not able to find a presenter. So she presented herself on fire safety and prevention. Um, we we do have an opening for a global leader. Our previous global leader had an eye issue and had to withdraw, and we're still looking to replace him.
Okay. And again, thank you for letting me know who you have with personnel so that we can put that on the forms board so people know that we have those leadership openings available. So that's great to know. Okay. Next, we're going to go to Anel with connections. Anel, how's your department doing?
It's going a little slow, but it's going, and we just have a little bit of attendance. So attendance, we're struggling. I think it's um, the times may not be working for some people, it seems like, and or they're not getting used to checking their messages, getting their calendar prioritized, things like that. There might be um, you know, a lack of connection, unfortunately. But that's gonna, we're working on that and making sure that whoever is wanting to lead really is going to make the time to lead and be available. So we're talking with everybody and going from there. But overall, the preparedness was really well. Like it worked out really nice. So I'm with Sherry on that.
Awesome. Okay, really quick question for you on this. You were talking about how you think the time doesn't work out. Have you discussed with your leaders about different time options that you think would work better in your community if you guys need to adjust that?
I have not talked with everybody. It seems like the time that was put in place, just a few were able to, or it might have worked at one point and maybe they're forgetting. So that's something that we definitely need to bring back and discuss again as far as the time. So that is on the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, so next meeting, what I would love you guys to do is check on the time and also, check with your community, put it out in forums, see about attendance, because we can always adjust the times if those times, because that's what we want. We want all of your departments having the best attendance, the best things. And if you find that the community is asking for something that's different, we want to make sure we adjust that accordingly. So great to be
Absolutely.
looking at that and seeing how that works. So I really appreciate that. Okay, we're next going to go to Yorona in events.
Hi, Jennifer. So things and events are feeling pretty good right now. We've had a noticeable uptick in engagement. Last month's event drew about 50 people, and the energy was just fantastic. We're not at capacity yet, but we're definitely growing. And leadership-wise, we are in a solid place. We've got a leader in training who's stepping up beautifully, and the team feels really cohesive and supported. There are no major issues to report, but we do have one participant who's been consistently late and missing some of the key segments. So we're keeping an eye on it. We may need to follow up if it continues. And we did have one small hiccup last month. There was a glitch that delayed our start by about 5 minutes. So we added a quick pre-check to avoid that moving forward. But overall, things are really good. The vibe's pretty strong, and we're excited for what's ahead.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad to hear. You guys are doing a great job, it sounds like. And I love that we're bringing great energy to our communities.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for. So great job on that, Yorona. Okay, next we are going to, last but not least, Tammy over our educator department. Talk to us about your department, Tammy.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're really excited. We're currently fully staffed. So that's always exciting when your leaders are all in place and trained. Sharing, I think is really, we've had full attendance. We've actually had to implement those growth strategies that are in the handbook, and we're utilizing that breakout room because our attendance did start reaching that 2025 participant model. So that's really exciting. I think people are really right now, our members are really interested in what opportunities there are around, maximizing their membership. So we do see a lot of interest in our community right now in that sharing meeting. One thing we are noticing is just not quite as, it's not kind of equal participation or interest around our relationship meeting, and we know how valuable that is for those relationships and how to invite around that. So we really are open to any suggestions or recommendations to make sure that we are that our community members know and understand the value, and that maybe we can increase our participation at that meeting. So if you or anyone here has any ideas around that, we'd love to hear what you have.
Well, two things that we can do. Number one, make sure you announce at our connections meeting how great things are going on, and hopefully we'll get some more attendance coming from what we're doing here at this meeting and get some more light shining on that. The other suggestion I would have is make sure you go to your development meeting that you have with your department the week of the second week, because I believe there are so many other communities we have. They may be struggling with the same things, or they may have found solutions for that in your specific department. So that is a great place to go to find things that are specific to your department and other people who may finding those issues with the personal meeting, because there's other leaders who are doing that. And I think that that would be some great resources to go to other than us. But as a team, yeah, if anybody has ideas of things that you guys have found successful, please feel free to share that with Tammy. Okay, we have a couple of minutes before we're going to go into our other meeting. So last but not least, does anybody have any questions or any issues that we need to bring up with things that are going on in your community? Pia.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one of our meetings, we had a real big hiccup getting the Zoom started, and it all turned out fine. But what I really wanted to say was, because our podcast leader had been in good communication with the hosts, and they had the script and they had their questions and everything, they were able to just, once we got on, they just started the script for the podcast meeting, and it went really well. So being prepared, I think, is really the message.
Yeah, well, not only that, but I love that you share that we make mistakes, because all of us are going to make mistakes in our departments. They're not going to be perfect. We're going to have human error, and that's okay. That's okay. But the fact that you came prepared and were able to fix it is huge. So kudos to you and all of you guys in your departments. We're so excited. We're so proud of you, of everything you're doing. And we'll have you guys stay on. You can go ahead and turn your cameras if you would like off. And we are going to go into the next meeting. For those of you who are watching this as a training, that was our alignment portion. And now we are going to get set up for our next meeting, which is our leader meeting. So we're going to go ahead and get those people admitted, and we will go from there.
Hi, everybody. So glad you guys could all make it. Just want to make sure that everybody is ready for today. So we have our presenter. Are you feeling prepared today to be able to present? Everything going well?
Yes, we have our presenter ready to go. I've got a backup just in case an emergency might happen with him, but we are good to go.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Leslie. Gregory, how are you feeling with the Wheel of Names? You get comfortable with that? You're on mute. You're on mute, Gregory. If you can take yourself off mute and then repeat whatever it is that you said, that would be great. There you go.
All the coffee this morning. Good morning, young people.
Good morning.
We are ready. We're ready to load it and spin. It's up and
Sounds
running.
wonderful. Great. All right. And then we have our exclusive list. Yvonne, how are you feeling with that?
It's all set. Thank you. Yes.
All set and ready. Okay. And do y'all feel prepared for our next meeting that we're starting? The next meeting that we have?
The next cycle, yes. I've got some ideas on new presenters and where we want to go as far as our what our theme is for the month. And so, yeah, I think we've got a great lineup.
Okay. Everybody seems like they're all prepared. Wonderful. That makes an easy meeting and nice and flowy. But is there anything else that y'all might want to bring up to the table right now that we're meeting together? Anything you want to discuss?
The one thing that I wanted to make sure, because we talked about initially, and as a script saying we're going to post the newsletter onto the chat. However, that newsletter, based on individual communities, that information actually in the handbook talks about after the connection meeting of the first week, the newsletter will be produced and sent out to everybody prior to the start of the second meeting.
The second week, right?
Yes.
Second week.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. So that is going to be in place. And I believe Jennifer is going to be providing us with any of the new things that she will go and experiment during our Thanksgiving week that we're off. She's going to go and see how all that works and do a little experiment while we're off. And then she's going to follow back up with us on that and provide us a new sheet if anything. Jennifer, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, so this is a sample. So all of you that are watching are seeing how this is to be done. So these people have done an amazing job on leading this meeting and how this works. And since we have a little bit of time, we'll talk about newsletter. Yes, Gregory, thank you for bringing that up. That's a great plan. As you're making that leader, those newsletters are distributed out in all of the forums, in all of the communities, in all of the departments on that second week, as you see, they're outlined in that. So all of that you will see is part of this department, but you guys will be able to be prepped according to what happened at this meeting. One of the great reasons why we do that is we will be having all of our directors join this meeting, and they were going to be giving a little snippet of great things that are going to be happening in their departments. Those are great things to include in your newsletter, highlights of things that are going in on each one of these departments. So as you're going through and you're like, oh my goodness. So if you're the newsletter person, oh my gosh, that's really cool that development said blah, blah, blah. They're doing this and this. I probably want to, include that in the newsletter. As you're doing the newsletter, make sure that you do highlight each department and have their links to their meetings, so that when people go out, if they were a part of the conference and at the connections meeting, they'd be like, oh my goodness, this was awesome. I want to make sure they have that follow-up information so that they can go, they can attend, they can be there, and you can share all of that great information that was included. Also, you guys have done a great job about showing what we do before, checking on everybody, making sure everybody's here, which is hugely important, because all of a sudden, if somebody didn't show up, somebody was sick, one of you may have to fill in for the other person. So right now you have a director. You have a director who's here, who's doing some of those roles. That is Anel. The meetings person actually, which was Barbara Succo, and she actually called in sick last night. So Anel fills in. A lot of times the directors or different people have to step in, and you yourself may have to pitch hit for some of those things when you're doing a meeting. So we want to make sure that you guys see that and do that. Along with that, as we're going through each of these departments, this meeting also, you will want to always mention that you have your big connection meeting, which is this, the pre-meeting, hey, are we prepped, ready to go? Are we all good? And which is awesome. But then don't forget, 2 weeks later, you will actually have your meeting where you will have preparing time for that. So you can start doing, one of the most important things is that, Leslie, while you're at the end of this meeting, you really want to get a pulse of the community. See how they like things going, see how they like the presenters, but really work on seeing what else they would like to hear about in their community. That will really help the direction and the guide of your next meeting. How that works and the things that the community is wanting to hear. That'll help you line up presenters, help you do that. Another thing that I want to talk to you guys in preparation, so those of you who are leading this meeting, today we have one presenter, and we're not going to really talk about this at this meeting because you guys are going to be able to see this. But in general, as your communities grow, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can have multiple presenters. Each one of those presenters, and we aren't going to be able to show this today, but we want to be able to talk about it so you guys are prepared for this. Leslie, who's going to be our presenter today, is going to introduce our speaker. If there are 5 presenters, she's going to introduce each one of them. They will not speak at that meeting. They will go into individual breakout rooms and do their talks within those rooms themselves, and the discussion will follow in those rooms. So each one of the presenters will be introduced to the audience, so everybody will be able to know who they are, get a little bit of taste of who's presenting, get a little bit of notoriety, but they won't be sharing anything in the main meeting. Those will be done in the separate breakout rooms. But today, we're going to just do one, because if you're less than 25 people in attendance, you do one. So today we're going to do one, whether we're beyond that or not. And sometimes you guys may plan and you'll be like, I think we're at 25. And then all of a sudden 40 people show up. You only had one presenter. It's okay. You'll keep it in that room. But the next time, if you are going to have to gradiate your numbers, you're going to have to realize that this connection meeting, we had like 30, 40 people show up. We're going to need 2 next time. We're going to need 2 breakout rooms at least. Now, if the first meeting you had 30, and then the next meeting you had 70, you're going to probably realize I'm growing faster than double the rate. Our community is growing. So maybe the next time you'll have 3 in preparation. So as the connections director, as a team, in your second meeting, you're going to be like, okay, this was our numbers. What do we think we can expect for the next time according to our growth? Again, you guys are taking a pulse. This isn't an exact science. So you are not, sometimes you'll be way off. Sometimes you'll be like, I thought we were going to have 50 people and only 20 showed up. Well, you're going to put 15 in each breakout room with the 2 presenters. So it's not an exact science. You're not going to know exactly who's going to come or how that's going to work, but you're going to have to take the pulse yourself and try to understand and make sure that that's the plan. So as you're doing that in your meetings and doing those stuff and you prep before the next meeting, that's one of the things that you really will have to monitor is the attendance and seeing how that works. Any last things from our leaders or questions that you guys have about this meeting? Okay, we are going to get prepped to go into this meeting, and we are so glad for all of you, and you get to see a live connections meeting here in just one moment. Thank you.
Welcome to People for People's Connection Department meeting. I'm Leslie Cunningham, your presentation leader. This meeting is where our community and business members come together to stay connected, inspired, and informed. Here's what we have planned for today. Quick updates from each of our community departments, featured business presentation, takeaways shared, spotlight on our exclusive business list, and of course, we have an incredible prize at the end for one of you. Let's get started. Okay, let's hear what's happening across our departments. Each director will give us a quick update. Pia, will you get us started with the development department?
Sure. Yeah. So we're super excited for our meetings this cycle. Our meetings are going to be on Thursday at noon Pacific. I put the link in the chat just now, and I just want to invite everybody to come. So week 2 is networking, and I just love to be able to connect with everyone, but also the growth activity for networking is so great because we get to love on other people's social media posts. And so you always want to come to the networking prepared with a social media post. And then week 3 is our workshop. And Adriana Martinez will be our workshop leader. And I just really love listening to her. And of course, that growth activity is Google reviews. And I literally had no Google reviews until People for People. So it's really a great opportunity to connect that way. And then, of course, week 4 is podcast, and that's, I think, most everybody's favorite. And it's nice because we get in small breakout rooms and we get to hear from everyone a little bit more personally. So that's it.
Awesome, Pia. I just love your enthusiasm. We are ready to get started in week 2. Tammy, how about the educator department? What's going on there?
Thank you, Leslie. Wow. So super excited about development. And then educator, we meet on Mondays at 4:30 PST. So add educator to your calendar so you can come over and get educated on how we build relationships. And that's not only personal relationships, but also those business relationships. So on week 2, that's those personal relationships. You get to hear from our real live members' personal stories about how those personal relationships have affected them. On week 3, those same thing, you get to hear from our business owners, business members, how those business relationships and those personal relationships have affected their business and made a difference. And then guess what? On week 4, you get to come to a sharing meeting where you get to hear from people right here who are really maximizing the benefits of their memberships and taking advantage of how you can actually earn income with your membership. And so you get to learn about all the different types of opportunities that are available here, along with the different types of memberships we have. So the educator department, this cycle, we have 3 amazing members. I just want to shout out really quick. We have Barb Pastusko, we have Brant Markle, and we have Regina Bergman. Come over. If you haven't met them, you want to, and you want to come learn all about the things that they're going to be sharing with us. That's on Mondays at 4:30 PST, weeks 2, 3, and 4. Thanks, Leslie.
That's awesome, Tammy. You know, the educator department is just such a great way to get an overall view of what People for People is all about. That's wonderful. Okay, Sherry, how about the impact department? What's going on there?
Well, as you know, impact is my favorite department. I wonder why. we've got a great lineup for this coming cycle, with winter coming on, and gift giving and eating after our holiday week or during our holiday week. For week 2, we have a relationship presenter who is an expert in how to develop real, genuine experts. And I'm so pleased with our relationship leader for snagging this person. It's going to blow your mind when you see who we've got, because everybody knows their name. Now, in the preparedness department, we've got a seasonal tip for making sure you are not injured or don't become unhealthy for the wonderful season we've got coming up. All you guys that are thinking you can still climb on a roof, we're not going to do that when there's snow on the roof. Anyway, and then for the global, of course, we've got gift giving season coming up, and that's our theme for the cycle. So our global leader will talk about making a real impact during this really special cycle.
That's wonderful, Sherry. I can tell why you're so passionate about impact, because it truly is making an impact on the world.
It is. And I almost forgot to say that our impact meetings are at 2 p.m. PST on Wednesdays.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, Annelle, let's go over to Connections.
All right. Well, this is Connections, y'all. In Connections, we have our fearless leader here, Miss Leslie, who is here to present and show us all about connection. And Gregory is going to be putting together the Wheel of Names, because we have a Wheel of Names and Connections where you have an opportunity to be able to win a prize. And so that's always a lot of fun. And our next leader is Yvonne, and in Connections, we have a list, like there's a list of businesses, and you get to be on a list, because you get to have exclusivity. And in Connections, this is where we all come together and we create relationships, and we get to know each other a little better and have an opportunity to share what we do. And as the name of the department is called Connections, so this is all about connecting and coming together. So I hope everybody really enjoys today's connection. And Connections meets on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're able to join us during Connections, we are here on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Thanks, Annelle. Yeah, we love the Connections department, and we love your leadership. And so let's finish up with Yorona in the events department.
Hey, everyone. I'm so glad to be here representing the events department. We have got a great event coming up in 2 weeks. It's called Designing Experiences That Connect. It's all about creating events that feel meaningful and emotionally resonant, whether you're hosting a workshop, a gathering, or community celebration. And we'll be exploring how to build emotional resonance, how to read the energy in the room, and how to make sure every participant feels seen and valued. It's all about how we create events that don't just inform, but actually move people. And our guest speaker is Susie Jones, who brings years of experience in immersive event design. She's warm, she's insightful, and she always leaves people inspired. So if you're someone who hosts workshops, leads meetings, or just wants to deepen your impact through intentional design, this is definitely an event you won't want to miss.
Oh, that's awesome. We're excited and looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Thank you to each of our directors for those great updates. We appreciate that. Now, let's get to some exciting part of our day. We're excited to spotlight Bill Amirault as our exclusive business member today. Bill is a career development and leadership coach who has helped over 700 clients find clarity and purpose in their careers. He's a former marketing and consulting professional with companies like GE, P&G, J&J, and United Health Group. He is also an author of Finding God's True Purpose for Your Career. Bill holds an engineering degree from RPI and an MBA from Indiana University. And he has spoken at events and universities nationwide. So we're super excited for him to share today. So, Bill, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Leslie. And if I can share my screen, which I believe I can do, and then I'm going to go to the presentation version of this, and we should be good to go. And as a career development and leadership coach, which I've been doing for the last 12 years, what I have found is that a lot of things that get in the way of people getting to the next phase of their career is the mindset that goes along with either limitations or a lack of gratitude, depending on where they are in their circumstances. And for any of you that have been downsized, right-sized, reorged, fired, let go, or separated from your organization for reasons that you may not understand, you know how that goes. It really rips away at your identity, and it also makes you question your own value, and certainly can result in lapses of confidence. So this is something that I use, not directly what you're going to see today, but I use this all the time from a mindset reset with my clients to make sure that, hey, God put us all here for a variety of reasons. Career is one of the most important. So it's up to us in defining and manifesting those reasons in the best way that we can. And being grateful for the things that we have already will always bring a wave of things that will improve in the future. So the power of gratitude, and I'm going to go through this relatively quickly, but if there are some questions or whatever, please either raise your hand. I have the tic-tac-toe squares on one device and I have the presentation on another, so I will be able to see you if there's some thoughts or questions, and there'll be time at the end for that as well. So let's go back. The first thing we need to do is, how do we define gratitude? First off, the quality of being thankful and showing appreciation for and ability to return kindness. And I think we all understand where that is, but there are a couple of layers of gratitude that I'll get into here with this. There's thankfulness and gratefulness, feeling of appreciation by a recipient of another's kindness, such as gifts, help, favors, or another form of generosity. And I think we all know what it means to be kind to another person, and we all know what it means for them to be kind to us, and how grateful we are when those things happen. And they can stretch across any walk of life. You could have a flat tire on the side of the road and somebody stops and says, "Hey, do you need help?" Or you could be, something fell out of your grocery cart and somebody picks it up. I mean, just general acts of kindness. And then there are, of course, much greater ones than that, taking care of a sick elderly parent or a sick child for an extended period of time. And I have several clients who have had career breaks based on those things. So gratitude can be expressed in several forms, and kindness can be delivered in several forms. Another deeper meaning of it is this: an expanded appreciation for all the good in life, recognizing that the source is often external. And Martin Luther back in the 1500s referred to gratitude as the basic Christian attitude. Now, this is as he's putting all of his 95 manifestos together against the Catholic Church. That said, he was grateful as a basic Christian attitude. The science of gratitude is this, and this has been proven many, many times over. You can look it up. You can rewire your brain to be happy by simply recalling 3 things you're grateful for every day for 21 days. When somebody first gets laid off or separated from their company, I just say this: get a stack of Post-it notes and a jar. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every day, stick them in the jar, and 3 weeks from now, we're going to look at it. When you do that, you give yourself the opportunity of saying, wow, there's so many things in my life that I just wasn't, I mean, I was aware of them, but I wasn't really focusing on how grateful I am to be receiving those things. It could be other people, it could be the home you live in, the car, it could be your ability to travel, your health, any number of different things. So what I did was I went to my favorite resource these days, which is ChatGPT, and I found the top 20 value gratitude statements from across all philosophies, religions, et cetera, et cetera. And then for the purposes of time, I reduced it to the David Letterman top 10. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. First one, 1 Thessalonians 5:18, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. The Quran, if you are grateful, I will surely increase you, but if you deny, indeed, my punishment is severe. Buddha, let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. Lao Tzu, when you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. In Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, or I shall not be lacking. Rumi, 13th century Persian poet, wear gratitude like a cloak and it will feed every corner of your life. I went across a lot of things here. I just want you to all appreciate that. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor of all things. And this is a guy who was a dictator of a huge swath of the earth's civilized population at the time. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, and to love. Next, Albert Schweitzer, 16th century. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us owes deepest thanks to those who have lighted the flame within us. Maya Angelou, who passed away a couple of years ago, let gratitude be the pillow upon which you kneel to say your nightly prayer. Meister Eckhart, a German mystic in the 1200s, who was a very prolific author at that time. If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, that will be enough. And then my personal favorite, and this is in my book as well, there's a whole section in the front of my book about gratitude. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Ancient philosopher Cicero. So now that we have grounded ourselves in gratitude from all walks of life, I'm going to be somewhat irreverent about this. And if anybody who remembers this, does anybody remember when Liza Minnelli said to Dudley Moore in the movie Arthur, what is it like to have anything you want, get up any day of the week and do whatever it is that you want, travel anywhere you want? He said, it doesn't suck. Okay, so there are ways of looking at it that are less reverent than what I just showed you. But again, the whole thing comes down to, what do you appreciate about your life? I have coined my own quote here for what it's worth. A healthy dose of sincere gratitude is the best cure for acris. And some of you might say, I've never heard of acris. It's not in any medical journal. It's not in the DSM-5. It is something that I made up after watching and observing lots of companies and lots of individuals go through it. And it stands for this. So just bear with me. I think you'll get a kick out of this. It's an acronym for acute cranial rectal inversion syndrome. Okay, it's like the ostrich with its head in the sand, only you know what it means as a human being. Even though this is physiologically impossible, it's very possible psychologically and emotionally, because you can get caught up in your own conversations and not recognize, number one, the things you should be grateful for, and number two, the implications of that for the rest of your life. How did gratitude apply to me? And it has for many, many, many years, but particularly last December 18th, I'm driving on the northwest side of Austin from a project that I was working on down to my son's house on the southeast side of Austin. About 6:45 p.m., I'm driving down Texas Route 360, open, dark, but clear night, no rain, anything else. And this guy just pulled out in front of me into the median at about 5 miles an hour. I had no time to stop, turn, or do anything else except hit the brake and then just hit my left front license plate into his left front wheel. And this is what my car looked like. Okay. And when I took that picture a few minutes after the accident and I looked at it, I said, oh, wow, that's not good. Then I went to the junkyard a couple days later and I said, I shouldn't be here. I really shouldn't be here. And this is the third time in my life, two separate issues where I was spared. And I know that Providence intervened both this time and the other two, which is not worth going into right now. But the bottom line is it took me a while because I was in the middle of some important projects. I wasn't like badly injured, but I was shaken up. And it took me about a month to get back physically and emotionally. And I started doing all kinds of different stretching exercises and everything else. But the bottom line is God gave me another shot. And I'm really grateful for that. And I'm grateful to be here today, just sharing this with you as far as the power of gratitude. So, you may have seen that little meme on the left there if you read Rhonda Byrne's book, The Secret. Gratitude is a powerful process for shifting your energy and bringing more of what you want into your life. Be grateful for what you already have, and you will attract more good things. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, if you have a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper, I'm going to ask you to spend, and I'm going to put this on the stopwatch here, and just for the purposes of time. Normally, I do 3 minutes, but we're going to cut that in half. Spend the next 90 seconds writing all the things that you are grateful for in your life. And you can write them on Post-it notes if you want and put them in a jar afterwards. Okay, 10 seconds. Time. Okay, show of hands. How many found that easy? Okay, that looks like pretty much everybody. Even if you're off video, you can raise your digital hand if you'd like. How many found it difficult? And I'm not going to pick on you if you did. Okay, I don't see anybody. This is great. I'm grateful for that. Okay, so this is already, we just did this. Oops, sorry about that. And doing this on a regular basis will get you properly grounded and in the right quote unquote energy and frequency. Okay, and there are all kinds of philosophical, spiritual, theological, and emotional benefits to this. And I've mentioned a few of them before. And that's pretty much what I have for today. Any thoughts, questions, reactions, insights? You can take yourself off mute. Jennifer, go.
So, what has led you, or what was your epiphany to think about gratitude? What made you start getting that?
I did for a long time without knowing where it was coming from. And then I started recognizing gratitude both in the Bible, and then I read Rhonda Byrne's The Secret back in the late 2000s, whenever it is. And I thought, you know what? The more good vibes you put out there, the more are going to come back to you. So then it became, what's the right way to say this? A verification for stuff that I had been thinking and feeling for a long time.
Awesome. One of the things that I want to share, just because this is a training meeting, and I want to make sure we're all trained correctly on this. One of the most important things we do during this time of this meeting is this question period. We always want the presenter to be able to take 5 minutes or so, share some golden nuggets on what they did and great ideas with presentation. I love how he was able to put all of us participating writing lists. But the question answer is definitely the most important to get the community involved. And so this part, since we're on this part and we're showing everybody the examples of what to be done, I would like all of you, if you could, anybody raise their hands, of some of the things that you have been grateful for, or what you actually did put on your list, since we've been talking about that, and ways that you found to be able to get gratitude in your own lives. So Bill, I'll let you call on some of these people.
Sure. Before I call on Coach Margine, Mary, I saw your comment. There are gratefulness in the second 10, didn't make the top 10, just so you know. Okay. It says, wish you had shared something from Judaism, the grandparent of most religions. And Coach Margine, go ahead.
Well, because I suffered 4 vertebrae compression fractures in 2021, gratitude is the number one thing that kept me afloat and above board during that painful time and healing time and questioning and wondering why me, why now? I retired from a 12-year career as an accountant in December of 2020, and then 2021 by May, I mean, I was totally down. My whole life was totally destroyed. So it has been my salvation. It really has, and continues to be. And as I work with my clients, it's one of the number one things that I teach them to practice is gratitude every day to help keep them afloat, help keep them moving forward. So thank you again, Bill, for your presentation. It's always a pleasure and always exciting to hear people talk about gratitude.
And what specifically, either a moment or a series of moments during your, let's call it rehabilitation time, was either a turning point or something that you look back on and say, if that hadn't happened, I would have a whole different outcome right now. I'm just, these specific examples I find are always very valuable.
Well, because my body was in so much pain, I wasn't able to even function and work my business. But if it wasn't for the support that I had in the community that I'm involved in, Sunday mornings or Sunday afternoons, we met every Sunday, a team in the mastermind. And that was my go-to day on Sunday, was to hang out with those people. And they were always so loving and encouraging and supportive. And just that positive energy from that meeting kept me from getting in the car and driving off a bridge somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful for that, and so grateful for that group of ladies that I was meeting with. We'd been meeting together for 3 or 4 years, and it was my sustenance. And then the other thing that blessed me was some of the people that I was working with, because I do a monthly group coach-a-thon, and I had to tell them, I said, I can't do this. I have to step away from this. And we had a community chat, and one of the ladies raised her hand and she says, well, she says, I think we can do it. She said, I think we can still get together and we can still keep ourselves afloat, and we'll just put in a meeting and just communicate with each other and speak together about, well, if Margine was here, what would she say? If Margine was here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then that really did it. That just really warmed my heart when they raised their hand and decided that they could go ahead and continue without me till I could come back. So, yeah.
So it was a reciprocating series of events and moments that happened during your recovery that kept you above water.
Exactly.
Okay, now notice the give and take involved here.
Yes.
Okay, and it's not just you receiving, but you also having given to that group of people. They recognized that and wanted to give back to you.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bill.
Regina.
Yes, so the what got me really started on a gratitude journal was after my first husband passed away, like a week before our 44th wedding anniversary. About a month after that, I was challenged in church to participate in a gratitude challenge. And I was thinking at the time I wasn't feeling super grateful, but I agreed and I accepted. And I have to say that going through that challenge and recording every day things that I was grateful for, I think that was the biggest catalyst in getting me through the widow's fog and the biggest elements of grief. Couple of other things I just wanted to add is that sorry, messing with my screen, I lost us here. There we are. One of the things my current husband and I did a couple of years ago was around Thanksgiving, for about a week before Thanksgiving, we just had a tablet laying on the dining room table, and we would just go by and write something we were grateful for. And we wound up with well over 100 items on that list that we were grateful for just by doing that for a few days. And just each of us, as we went by and thought of something, we wrote on there. And then ultimately, I did also create a gratitude journal that I marketed for other people to help them with that process.
Well, it looks like you ran out of Post-it notes then. It
I
sounds like
did.
you and putting them into a journal like that is also very powerful because it's a real reminder. A pastor that I know from New Jersey had a quote unquote exercise that he shared with the congregation where he said he would write a journal of prayers and requests with gratitude, which I'll get to that in a minute. And then he would look back and then say, oh, this prayer was answered, or this happened because of the request that I put out there, or some version of that. And there was always an answer. It wasn't always the answer that he had originally either desired or felt like he wanted, but it was always an answer.
Yeah.
And again, keeping record of this is a great way to quote unquote substantiate how this works.
Yeah. And the blessings come too when you keep a record that way, a journal, whether it's a gratitude journal or otherwise, you're able to look back and see how you got through the tough times.
Yeah.
And see what brought you through.
Great. Thank you. Sherry.
This is more of an observation. I began to hear about a gratitude practice with that book, The Secret. And we periodically, I start a gratitude practice and then I get busy and I fall away from adding things to it, recording my gratitude. I have always been a glass half full person, so it's part of my personality, but I don't formalize it all the time. But it seems like every time I do fall away from recording it, along comes something like this and reminds me. So I can be, let's call it meta gratitude. I can be grateful for gratitude. And so thank you for this presentation.
Oh, you're welcome. Dina or Deanna?
It's Dina, but thank you.
Okay.
It's funny because right before this call, I was reading my Bible and having prayer this morning and listing all the things I was grateful for. So it was perfect to come into this meeting. But in 2020, I lost a multi-million-dollar business to COVID.
Ooh.
And that was hard. But I had also lost a friend to suicide.
Wow.
And I had attempted to take my life in the 90s and I had never spoken about it. And so when my friend died, I felt like God was telling me to do something with that my story. And when I lost my business, it gave me the space to do that.
And would you have not done it if you had not lost the business, or you would have been too busy with the business to have taken the time to share your story? And how did you go about sharing your story?
I think I would have done it anyway, but it would have been harder because of how much I traveled and how much I was really busy. But I started a nonprofit in 2020 that is called the Realize Foundation, and we tell people stories of adversity because that's what gets people to ideation is adversity. And if we can have conversations around that, then we can help people live. And I actually have a tattoo on my arm that says thankful for the scars.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. And when did you put the tattoo on your arm? It was when you had rebounded from all the things you're just describing, or how did that?
It was actually a few months before I lost my business because I wanted to remind myself that I had this purpose.
There's a woman named Mary Robinson in New Jersey who I met several times because she was the founder and director of a nonprofit called Imagine, which was grief counseling, and it was set up intentionally, grief counseling for generally teenage children or younger who lost a parent or parents, in some cases both. And she had lost her father when she was 14, and she shared about how her life went meandering all over the place, and her brother's life was even worse in terms of what they lost with their father passing away at a very early age. And I don't know what the current status is, but several hundred families have benefited from that grief counseling. But it never would have happened if she didn't raise her hand like you just did and said, I'm going to share my story and what I learned from it so that you don't have to go through the same thing. So appreciate you saying that.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I know Leslie, you want to jump in quick, but I literally have one more slide. I'm going to share my screen and I'll be done in like 20 seconds. But the single best version of gratitude that I've ever seen, and I saved this till the end intentionally, is when the Apostle Paul was writing from prison to the Philippians. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Chains around his ankles, no food. We can only imagine what they did for, human functional stuff. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer, with petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Very powerful passage. And there you go. I will take myself off share. And Leslie, it's back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bill. Man, I just love how you reminded all of us how daily gratitude can affect just every aspect of our lives. And we definitely know that. And for all of you that shared, wow, it touched my heart, and I know it touched others too. So thank you for your insights and your experiences. This is what truly makes us this community, and it's so meaningful. It's just a powerful reminder that our community grows stronger every time we show up, speak up, and learn from each other. So let's keep this energy going as we shift into one of the most impactful parts of the meeting, our exclusive business list update. So I'm going to turn it over to Yvonne for the update.
Thank you, Leslie. And yes, thank you everyone for sharing. It is such a powerful presentation. And just a reminder how easy it is to forget sometimes what we need to be thankful for, what we have to be thankful for, and to remember to do that every day. I'm Yvonne, your exclusive leader, and I'm excited to spotlight the businesses that help strengthen and support our community. With People for People, businesses like the ones you've heard from today have the opportunity to be exclusive, meaning they are the only businesses that of their type represented in this community, like one dentist, one realtor, one photographer, and so on. This allows us to build deep, trusted relationships with businesses we know and support. All of our exclusive businesses also offer special discounts and promotions available only to People for People members. So I'll be dropping the updated exclusive list in the chat. New businesses and offers are highlighted in yellow, so please save it for easy reference. And as you review this list, I want you to take a moment and just think about the places you already shop, places you go, people, businesses you talk to, and the ones you trust, the professionals that you love to refer to other people. Who do you know that would be a great fit for this list? Someone who brings value, professionalism, and a heart for community. We encourage you to invite them to an upcoming features meeting so they can experience what People for People is all about. This is one of the most impactful ways you can help grow our network with people and businesses you already believe in. So now let's move into one of our favorite parts of the meeting, the prize drawing. Over to you, Gregory.
Yay! I know you guys are excited. I'm excited. First of all, one of the things I'm grateful for are testimonies. Guys, I've realized there's never a testimony without a test. And you guys have been through some tests. There's no doubt about that. So the prize today is, and we're fixing to spin. I know you're excited, but I'm fitting those names into this wheel. But Miss Jennifer Bond is graciously giving us the ability for one of you to have a podcast with her as the prize. This could be priceless, guys. I'm telling you, I'm excited for you, whoever the winner is. So let's spin. Let's see who's going to take home this prize and get in to do the podcast with Jennifer. So, all right, ready? Let's go. And our winner is... Yay, Peggy Christian. Congratulations. Oh, that's mixed emotions, limited to joy and happiness. Let me tell you, I'm excited for you. So send me a private chat with your phone number so I can connect with you and arrange to get you your prize and how that's going to go, and give you a little more detail about that. But of course, thank you again, Jennifer, for this amazing gift. So I'm going to kick it back to Leslie.
All right. Thanks,
Close
Greg.
this thing up.
All right. A big thank you to our presenter, Bill. He's did an awesome job for the value you shared with the community. And thank you to everyone who shared your time, commitment, and amazing energy. We truly appreciate and celebrate you. Before we go, I want to ask you guys, is there anything that you would like to see us cover on any of these upcoming meetings? Feel free to raise your hand or unmute and give us some ideas of what you would like to see. Okay, Miss Jennifer.
Yeah. So again, we're in training. So this is a huge, important part of your meeting. If you can see, we have about 15 minutes left or so. One of the things that's really important about this meeting, not only is there to talk about what you want to see in this meeting, but if you can tell, all the directors are here. So if there's something that you may not need to see in connections, but you're like, you know what, personally in our communities, I think we need to be prepared for tornadoes that are coming. I don't think we have enough preparedness for that. Or I think we need more, so you can, even though you're talking at this meeting, make sure as the leader and the director that you open it up to any departments, any ideas, any ways that we can grow in this community. And then if they don't have some ideas, I would always put, like Tammy says, in my back pocket, a list of ideas and maybe even put some things to vote. So as a leader, if nobody comes up with ideas, say, hey, as a community, we're thinking that you guys might want to know more about, because we have a lot of seniors in our community. Do we want to talk about senior transitioning or out of work, when you leave for retirement, or, we have these 3 lists. Does anybody have ideas of what they would like our next presenters to be? So this is a great time to be able to have those discussions. In addition to it, one of the really important things that I've seen in connections meetings that happen is people talk about not only what they'd like to see, but what they've liked to see in the past. This is a great time to love on each other, even in the past month. So this past month, how did your guys' development meetings? What did you like best about them? What did you like best about your impact? What have you guys liked best about our last event we had? And this is where the whole community can come and give those responses to. So use this time. You should always have at least 15, 20 minutes, but don't let any of it go away. So we're going to open that up to you guys. 2 things. What would you guys like to see more in the community? A, or B, what have you seen in the community that's been great that should be shared with other people? So I'd love to hear some of your thoughts and ideas on that so we can have discussions on that. And if you don't have thoughts and ideas, this is where the point comes that I call on you. So, Sherry.
something that has been on my mind pretty much 24/7, especially in this season and with the recent delay of SNAP benefits due to the shutdown. Our community has a tremendous homeless situation. And I just, I want to see the ability to not only have help, not only help as individuals, even if, like many people, we're already stretched ourselves financially. I'd like to see a community discussion about what would be helpful. Especially, I would like to see that coming from the experts in the field. So I'm wondering if it's possible, maybe even in the impact department, where we have the ability to have people outside the community come in and talk to us about it. I would just like to see our mission of building the people and loving on each other extend to those least fortunate members of our community, of our local towns.
I think that is fabulous. That is an exact perfect example of what we should be doing in this. And so thank you, Sherry. So we're going to continue on that discussion. So where she saw with impact, we'd say, I have to remember, I have to look here really quick. Sherry, that's actually you. So in impact department, that might be absolutely something you could bring in. But in addition to that, I would say, Yorona, also, this might be something you want to consider in events. You know, when we do an event in the community and we get to do our community service, if this is what we feel as a community, then let's move forward and look at some ways that we can serve the homeless. Maybe the soup kitchen, maybe there's things we can do during our service activity. So this is exactly, thank you, Sherry, for bringing that up. This is exactly the kind of discussion so we can lead our communities in the ways that they need. What is this individual? How can we serve? How can we build? What are areas that we need? So thank you for opening that up. Yorona, did you have a thought on that?
Yeah, I love those. And there's so many volunteer organizations that are organized under, there's a group, it's called idealist.org. And I go through that all the time. We do a lot of volunteerism through that. So we could certainly see about partnering with something to put something together for an event, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then Gregory, sorry, then Leslie, I'll turn this back over to you.
You know, one of the things that jumps out at me is that, you know, we're asking people to take this pledge and partnering with people to people. But, you know, I think when we really look at the depths of this pledge, you know, for us to understand that we are, you know, it's not that this world is changing, this world's changed. Everybody knows that. Everybody's disconnected. But how do we go in and really help people understand how we can authentically love people, serve people, and even if you're faith-based, to be able to glorify Him in every action we take and decisions that we make to help build our economy, help support our businesses. You know, the word that's been on my heart all week is trying to really understand what a parallel economy is, because that's part of the pledge. And I think we ought to go over and spend some time discussing, you know, how this community and created economic system and how that's going to support each other, both on a local level, ethically, intentionally, help people to become stronger and more independent. I think that will be a great subject to really focus on sometime as a group.
And I think that that's perfect. Thank you, Gregory. That's something, and some people may not understand that. So a parallel economy is that, well, you're living in the economy in, but you can create your own parallel economy where you're shopping, you're doing, you're trading, you're doing this. So you have an economy working inside of that economy that you have. So it's parallel to that. But that is an exact thing that we may not know. So somebody maybe I'd go to maybe development and say, hey, this would be a great maybe workshop to have on somebody who's really good on economy. You know what I'm saying? It looks like somebody wants to, how does parallel economies work? How can we work that? Maybe an expert in that area. Or I would also maybe go back to connections, since this reaches all of us, this is part of our forum mission, and say, maybe we need a speaker that comes and speaks on a parallel economy, since this is one of our missions and our visions, right? And so these are exactly, you guys are doing so good. This is such a good example. Hopefully everybody's listening. You want to get in touch with your community right now. What do they need? What are they missing? Who can our speakers be? And all of our departments are here. And we can line that up and we can say, this is how we feel this. And I love how Gregory brought up the fact that we need to do this as a community, right? And this is the point where they can all come together. We can all come and learn from each other. We all get to drive our community to fix these issues. And this is the meeting that it happens in. So if we don't have these 15, 20 minutes of discussion and we just jump off, oh, that was a great meeting, I learned about gratitude, we're not getting to the heart. So that's why this time is so valuable, to make sure that we are getting to what people need, what people want, and how we can grow together. Coach Margine.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the educator department and specifically with People for People coming together now, with bringing in new people, new leadership, and learning the ins and outs and the processes. I think it's important that we try to focus on some of the topics of relationship building, learning to listen, to understand, and not to fix, and health boundaries in business as well as life. Personal growth, tiny daily habits that can change everything for everyone. And again, health and well-being, because if we don't have sustainable self-care for ourselves as busy people, we suffer and the community suffers as well if we don't educate our members on ways to improve their own self-care and remind ourselves to put the mask on ourselves first so that we can help others. Building safety nets for emergency funds and money and so on and so forth. There's just so many things that the education department could be working with. I mean, this is my opinion. I'm not sure because I'm new here. I'm just learning myself. And how to build a good community life, being a good neighbor. What does that look like? And these are just some ideas and thoughts.
Now, I think you touched on about 3 different departments there. So not only educator, which I think is, you're right, relationships. That is their first meeting. How do we build each other? And it starts with when all of us are referring and growing together. That first meeting that's why when we refer, we do the 4+1. We don't do 55 plus 25 or whatever, because we're building that relationship. We want them to feel important. We want to build the people. We want to do that. That's why that's the core mission of who we are. And so you're right. That relationship meeting needs to talk about that. Why is it important to build our people? You're head on with doing that in educators, and that's what our relationship meetings need to be on. So the relationship person, and whoever that would be, Tammy, would be going over that in her department. And she's really good on relationships and making sure that that happens. But you also talked about like putting the mask on ourselves and how do we protect ourselves. That jumps over to impact, right? Because in impact, in their first meeting, is about the development of the person and how we can support them and how we can build them. And so, in educator, we look outside and build businesses, serve, and we're doing things outside of ourselves. But impact is for ourselves, to grow ourselves. And that's what that first meeting. So I'm so glad that you talked about that. But if this was a real community, which I mean we are, but we're not individualized. But if this was one, I would actually say, Coach, maybe you should come and visit our educator meeting that is that personal, that first one of the week. But unfortunately, also, we have the first of the week, so you might have to attend 2 meetings that week where you'll actually get to be able to reach out with people relationship and put the mask on yourself, hopefully, and we do a good job. But if there's things that you feel like we need to talk about personal finance, that could be preparedness too. Because in our preparedness meetings, it's not just prepare for a tornado, it's prepare for our finances. How do we get prepared? So these are all the things that, I mean, you're almost doing a checklist of our meetings that we're trying to help people with. So this is really awesome you brought all that up. But those are things that we want to talk about. And it's perfect that you bring this out because of the fact there are going to be new people here that don't understand that. So we have to be able to share this information and say, hey, we have this resource, go here. We have this resource, go here. And this is what we have. And that's what Connections Meeting is all about. Okay, we've got about 5 more minutes. Any more ideas for the community of things you think we should address or things that you guys don't know about? Okay, before we go, since we have about 5 more minutes that we're wrapping up, I'm going to let Leslie wrap up the last few minutes, but I'm going to let Tammy just share a thought really quick on the connections and her thoughts on this meeting of anything else that we missed that we want to make sure is included.
I think y'all did a fantastic job. I really don't have anything to add. I think y'all did amazing. Great job, everyone.
And so hopefully all of you, as you go into your communities, you will do this exact process because we have amazing people. Just check to the script, go to your manuals, do your great stuff, and awesome job, everybody. So Leslie, close us out.
Wonderful, man. What a wonderful hour. We've just been blessed by everyone's insights and what Bill had to share. So we're ready to hit the weekend. Our next Connections meeting will be during week 1, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And guys, we are just so grateful for your continued commitment to this community. Remember, we're changing the world one community at a time as people for people. See you at our next meeting.